Biden was doing an interview on the Today Show with Al Roker, and he's getting that much closer to another run. Check it out.
Are you saying that you would be taking part in our upcoming election in 2024?
Well, I'll either be rolling an egg or being the guy who's pushing them out.
Come on, help a brother out. Make some news for me.
I plan on running now, but we're not prepared to announce it yet.
Okay, Marc Thiessen, former speechwriter for President George W. Bush. How you doing, Mark? Good morning to you. Got 3 topics to go through. Let's see.
Good morning.
See if we can cross all 3 off now. I think he has been consistent in saying that he plans to run, but no announcement now. What do you think?
Oh, he's running. I mean, look, if he had had a disastrous midterm election in 2022, then the Democrats would be pushing him out. The majority of Democrats don't want him to run. They want somebody else, but they've got no case to push him out. He had the best midterm performance of any president since John F. Kennedy, except for George W. Bush after the 9/11 attacks. And that was largely because of the people rejected the alternative that the Republicans presented, not because they endorsed Joe Biden. But there's really no groundswell to push him out. And so if he, sitting president, wants the nomination, he's going to get it.
Okay, 2 things here. CNN poll, Biden re-election. How do you feel about it? This is what CNN found. 32% say Biden deserves re-election. Wow, that's down 5 points since December. We'll see where it is another month from now. Meanwhile, there's reports that young Americans are drifting in their support for Joe Biden. And the White House is going after social media influencers to try and shore up that support. I thought we were kind of down on TikTok, Mark. What happened to that?
Joe Biden may be the first American president to use a sophisticated surveillance tool controlled by the Chinese Communist Party to influence the presidential election. But look, I mean, it's smart. The reality is he has lost a lot of ground with young voters. In 2020, 60% of voters 18 to 29 voted for Joe Biden. And since then, it is the single demographic which his support has collapsed the most. Of all the grids, it's collapsed across the board, but the young voters are the most. Now, having a bunch of uninformed social media influencers trying to influence these voters isn't going to change the reasons why that support has collapsed. I mean, you just had some young people on there talking about how afraid they are of crime. Inflation is eating away at their young incomes. The real wages have collapsed further under Joe Biden faster than in the last 40 years. So that's not going to change the reality on the ground of why that support has collapsed, but it's unless and until they ban TikTok, it's a smart move on him to try and use it.
Okay, all right, here we go. Topic number 3. We've got governor on governor contact. We got Gavin Newsom going after Ron DeSantis. Here's his advice for DeSantis in a primary. He's saying stay home. Watch.
Get rolled by Trump. Trump's just going to roll him. Thumped. I honestly, if I were offering him political advice, I'd tell him to pack up and wait a few years and actually do some of the hard work, which actually includes governing, not just identity and culture war.
Okay, I guess he's trying to smoke out DeSantis. I'd have to look to see if he's responded to that. What do you think?
So Gavin Newsom giving DeSantis advice on governing is pretty hilarious. I mean, this is a guy whose state has run out of U-Hauls because so many people have left. I mean, think about this. Since the 1800s, people have been beating a path to California. It was always in the 1800s, go west, young man, until Gavin Newsom became governor. In the last 2 years, 635,000 people have fled the state of California. That is larger than the entire population of the state capital in Sacramento. So people are, first of all, I'd love to see this as the matchup instead of Biden-Trump in 2024. Newsom versus DeSantis would be a heck of a race. But people have already voted on this election. They voted with their feet. They're all moving to Florida, and they're leaving California.
He said do some of the hard work, which actually includes governing. Did you see his response on that hurricane? I mean, they rebuilt that bridge overnight. Mark, thank you. Nice to see you on a Monday. Marc Thiessen, Mondays with Mark. Have a great week. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.